Thank you. So, I am the parent of a 14-year-old. And what that has taught me again and again is that we as humans are fundamentally social in how we interact. And that is doubly, triply so for teenagers. It's very obvious. But what it also says is that the scale of social isn't something that is limited to the room or a particular user base. It is something that is global. It is something that is there in all of us. Now, for this, we are actively moving millions of Web 2 users to a new foundation of the social web on frequency. But that means not the same as moving a user base that is technologically native. It means that the user base is truly something that is global, and these users come from all different backgrounds, different tools, different capabilities, different internet speeds, different economic capabilities, and different technological capabilities. This means that as we move these Web 2 users into the Web 3 world, it's not as simple as saying, hey, just go get a hardware wallet from the Best Buy and use that. These are not people who are crypto native. They're not interacting at the same level that you and I in this room might be. What that means is in order to do a migration of users, we must first look at users and see how can we reduce the friction to the point where anyone can move from a Web 2 experience into a Web 3 experience. Now, that is not just a simple set of instructions. That means providing users experiences that they're used to and are capable of doing right now, and providing an analogous experience in the Web 3 world. But that's not where it has to end. That's merely the start of a journey. So we say for these users who are not inside of the system of crypto as those in this room and watching are, this means that we need to provide a custodial experience. However, the custodial experience is a little bit different because we're talking about social things here, and frequency focuses on social. That means that this is not a wallet that's holding necessarily tokens, it's a wallet that's controlling social. But it goes on from there. People who want more control, more capabilities can indeed move on from that initial starting point, but without giving a simple migration for users, without giving them that smooth onboarding process, there is no move to a world of 500,000 people who interact with social media right now today. Those people can never move to a Web 3 based system that gives them more control, that enables creators and builders to build amazing things. Second, we have this aspect of economics. When we're talking about something on the scale of billions of people, the question of economics must come up. Because one of the things that social media today has done an amazing job with is reaching all of those billions of people at their existing socioeconomic level. If we leave behind people of certain socioeconomic levels, we have failed in our goal of Web 3 to increase user control and increase decentralization. Decentralization means everybody. It means humans. It means you. It means people on the other side of the world. It means all of us. Your users in social especially aren't just users, they're everyone. So those economic pieces are very important. And so frequency, we have said it is important for people to interact with the social web, not to need tokens. Now, this flies in a little bit of the idea of Web3 that some people have, that everything must be tokenized. What Web3, the core part of Web3, is not tokens, but it is user control and decentralization and empowering people to build amazing things. Now, you may be asking, okay, they don't have any tokens. That's fine, I'll accept that. They can interact with signatures in the wallet. They can maintain control through the cryptographic primitives of Web3. That's perfectly great. But who is actually still, paying for things? Somebody has to pay the piper. In the end, we have said that there exists already a group who can handle this. As we're migrating existing Web 2 social media companies to Web 3, those companies already deal with the complexities of cost, the complexities of technology and integrations. The users get this wonderful abstraction layer already on top of all of this complexity of servers and caches and internet and TCP/IP and packets and fiber optic cables and Wi-Fi, all abstracted away to this beautiful interface that the users of all technical capabilities can use. So what we say is those businesses should instead deal with that. And we do that through offering this system of delegations. The users have the ultimate control, and they pass that delegation off to an application or a service provider, and they say, I allow you, me who's signing this with my custodial or non-custodial wallet, I am signing this and saying, I am allowing you to do certain things on my behalf. That gives us a couple advantages beyond just the users not having to deal with the token. It means that those businesses can deal with all of those complexities. It also means that users have reduced friction in their interactions in the application. They can interact with that application in a way that they're, again, used to, meeting the people, the billions of people on social media right now, where they're at. That capability of smoothing the path gives us another advantage in that businesses, applications, service providers provide us points of aggregation. My colleague last year at Decoded talked about how frequency disconnects the scale of social media and makes it such that the scale, the relationship between that scale of social media means that trillions of interactions do not mean trillions of interactions on chain. These businesses allow for that aggregation outside of the chain to reduce the scale of social media, which is massive. Trillions of interactions, handling those on-chain with these businesses and applications, leveraging the work that they're doing already to provide that scaling. But the cost is still a problem, right? We haven't actually solved the friction of the user. We've mostly, we've made progress there. But instead, we've just moved the friction over to the business. Because there is one sticking point in Web3, and that is, for the most part, Ethereum and the major systems right now, the interactions that users have with the chain is different than the interactions that businesses have. Users get to make individual choices on individual transactions. Businesses who are doing things on behalf of their users, on the other hand, they have costs that they have to cover. They're used to dealing with hosting costs and infrastructure costs, but they can't deal with a cost when today it's tiny and tomorrow it's 40x what it was the day before. Businesses can't operate on that form. What Frequency has done is provide an economic system that shifts from the model of a per transaction payment to a model that's much closer to that of solar panels. You buy solar panels, you get the power that the solar panels produce every day. It renews, it's renewable energy. And Frequency allows applications and service providers and those that support them to stake for a fixed amount of capacity, of transactions that renews on a renewable basis until they unstake. This provides an amazing secondary feature for social. Social is about sharing. But in order to build a cooperative underlying social foundation for a new social web, it needs to be that people are willing to share. These businesses must be willing to share, to be able to find that the collective, what we can do together is greater than what anyone can do alone. That allows this through a renewable resource of transaction, a rate-limited system that says you can continue to post. Your costs are accounted for by your stake and not accounted on a per transaction level. So we've got some great things, right? We've got the user friction that we've dealt with a lot of, always more there to help users. We've gotten some of the business things. We've got the wonderful advantages of businesses, their ability to act as aggregators, their ability to act as these wonderful abstract layers hiding tons of technical complexity. And we have managing those costs that the volatility could easily cause trouble with. But we still have the question, the big challenge is how do we get from where we are right now through the migration process to where we want to be, to this wonderful future social web? And if you remember back to when you've last moved places, there's this time where half your stuff is in the old place, half your stuff is in the new place, somehow defying physics. There's another half that nobody knows where is, and inevitably your toothbrush is always in the wrong place. You don't get the best of both of places during a migration. You get the worst of both places. This is how do you make someone go through this process? How do we help businesses, just like we helped users through that migration, how do we make sure we help businesses to be able to handle this migration process? And we've learned a lot thanks to our partners like MeWe, who's been here talking as well. We've learned a lot of the pieces that are necessary to make that smooth, and we're working to make it smoother every day. Things like the tooling, right? We often focus on the end state. What is this amazing place that we're going to, and making sure the tooling is right for that. The tooling for where we are right now is already done, but there's this tooling that's going to smooth that process from one to the other. That's critical piece of tooling that can't be forgotten in this migration process. We have another piece, which is education. If you're talking to a Web 2 company, there are many things about decentralization and about interacting with a blockchain that have to be explained. This education piece is especially obvious with developers. For developers who are used to interacting merely in a Web 2 centralized system, they're used to having bounds and controls on the system that they're interacting with. They have level of control with the systems they talk to. If they're dealing with some asynchronous operations, it's still relatively quick compared to in a decentralized world where you have data incoming from people you don't know anything about. You have to figure out how to interact with that, how to interact with the lag time that blocks produce. How do I still provide a wonderful interaction for the user even though some things might take a little longer? Dealing with all of those new systems, how to think in them, how to find errors when an error comes up, is a whole new world for many Web 2 developers who aren't used to working in a decentralized system. Another common thing that comes up in migrations is a circular dependency. I have a feature that I need to migrate. I can't do that until I migrated another one. I can't do that one until I migrated this one. But oh wait, I can't do this one until I've migrated this one over here. And this happens in every legacy code base. And that includes the one you wrote last week, because that's legacy now. All of these organic operations that have happened over time that have provided these beautiful experiences for users. Let's ignore all the ugly code I wrote. All these beautiful experiences for users. We have to have a way to work through those migration points, find out how can we disentangle these circular dependencies, find out how we can take pieces and provide value to the users as quickly as possible. Those are all challenges, and they're unique to every single business that you work with migrating from Web 2 to Web 3. The good news, though, in all of this is that we're doing this right now. This is not an academic discussion. This is an active discussion. We're actively moving users on MeWe to Web 3. The user experience is getting better every day. The interactions are getting better every day. But we can't do this alone. This is not a vertical centralized system. This is not a vertical integration of a decentralized system. This is an ecosystem. Frequency provides a foundation for the social web, but it's not the social web alone. The social web is all of us. Social is bigger than any one of us. The pieces that make up the social interactions that we have today is bigger than just posts and followers. It's all of the pieces around it that make us have a wonderful experience, and that we want builders to be able to build on to build the next generation of experiences, right? Not just migrating what exists today to a new foundation, but a continual move towards greater user control, greater creativity and possibility, all towards a more collaborative underlying foundation for the social web. I would like you to join us. I would like you to learn about us. You can go to our website, learn more about us there, and all of the partners that we're going to announce over the next while. It's going to be an exciting journey, taking both users with us on that journey, businesses on that journey, and eventually the whole world on a journey of decentralization. Thank you.